in all of its glory, baby. In all of the glory, baby.
My favorite picture last year was Kyle Oposo with a photographer, and I actually reached out to that photographer, so I don't know if this is going to steal picture of the year here, which quite possibly. Right. I haven't even gone through everything yet, everyone. I was doing our post-game show. Here we are. Nick, back from the rink. Cody and Georgia, back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, boys.
Oh, my gosh. What the fuck?
Reigning and defending. We get to use that all next year.
Boys.
I mean, that's just
tell everyone the time right now.
It's 2:53 a.m.
Wow.
Some of you guys are probably watching this the next morning.
I don't anticipate too many people here right now, but I mean, that was incredible. Just speaking from the rink, I mean, the final 3, 4, 5 minutes of that game when Reinhart scored the first empty netter, it's like, oh my gosh. It was incredible. I mean, it's surreal. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just so surreal. I'm stunned for words that, okay, winning one cup, okay. I wasn't there last year, but being there is incredible. Being there and doing it for a second straight year in a row, and everybody's talking about us like the 2010s Kings and the freaking Blackhawks. Hell, freaking couple hours away from us, the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, those direct
were better than this.
To win a cup, sure. To experience a cup in person, sure. To have it all combined, it's truly special. I mean, it's astonishing. Like last year, I think it was more relief and like we finally did it, right?
And again, for everyone wondering, like, Nick, you were overseas in Italy, and how that whole series played out. You were checking in with us and just how the community was and like the panic and like 30 years in the making. Like, are we going to do this? This year, just such a different type of feel. And it was so awesome that you were at the rink this time and you were there for the cup clinching game.
It was always cats and six, baby.
Yeah, give Nick the bell.
It was always cats and six. It's just incredible. Like, I think this year, the feeling I have after each of these two, completely different. The perspective. I mean, you take a look, Paul Maurice last year at this time, 365 days ago, Paul Maurice had 0 Stanley Cups. Oh, he had never won a cup. Now he's got 2 Stanley Cups. Now he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion, top 3 all-time wins list, solidifying what was already probably a Hall of Fame career. And that's what you really have here. I mean, it's really special to see the Hall of Fame careers come together of like Reinhart.
Just jump in quick there with Maurice, Nick. His whole legacy has changed over the last 24 to 36 months here.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, you're a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. You know, you're up there, right? And he signed a 3-year extension. With this NHL season now being over, came to an end obviously tonight. Paul Maurice's 3-year contract, the initial one, came to an end. A 3-year extension now begins. But he went his first contract every year to the Stanley Cup final.
And remember what he said, Nick? He said, if I don't get the job done in Florida in 2 years, in 3 years, fire me. I'm fine. Like, if I don't get the job done and the results aren't there, then, I'm going to be replaced by the next coach. And that's what I respect about Paul Maurice when he came in. I don't think a lot of people remember that.
And it's just crazy to see, like, the resume that has been built since coming here. Like, you already had a good resume. And these are kind of the things, like, I know people will say, obviously the whole jubilation of winning the cup and everything. And you take a look at everybody you share it with along the journey and in the moments, and then that specific, and then us winning it just kind of compounds, like all the people you shared it with along the way. It's all compounded into one moment, one ceremony there. And it's so special. And it's like, you take a look at each of these players, each of these coaches, right? Like this is the different part of it. It's like, okay, you go from you're chasing one to now you've won one. Now you're done it again. And it's like the conversations around our team, the players, the coaches, completely different.
Nick, it's not even going to hit us during the season or even in the summer that like we're so far ahead of plan, I feel. Of like having these
1,000%.
cups, not finals appearances, not hey, we almost got one.
Not a conference final, like
it's so far ahead of schedule for me as a lifelong Panther fan. It blows me away. Maybe you new Panther fans feel differently. Tell us in the chat. But me as a lifelong Panther fan, it's so hard. I've never experienced one of my teams going back to back, let alone three-peat or dynasty or any of that. Which
Kirby,
a lot of people in my life have. My uncles have. My brother has. My friends have.
365 days ago, me and you, we have never had a sports team win a championship. Now we've done it twice. And it changes.
We gotta ask Cody another.
It's amazing how legacies, teams, organizations just change in a moment. One run, one game. And here's the other part.
And they weren't ready to give this to us. This was supposed to be the Oilers.
Yes.
One of these cups, both of these cups, this was supposed to be the Oilers.
And that's the part. It's like when we look back at this, we beat Connor McDavid the first time, fine, whatever Josh says.
No, but no.
Connor McDavid.
That's special beating Connor.
Back-to-back years. Connor McDavid has been to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. I just want to go over to the Oilers' perspective. Imagine losing last year. Okay. Imagine we lost to Vegas, right? We were motivated to get back to the Cup final. Everybody was. Imagine getting all the way back there and we losing Game 7 last year. I mean, I don't know what I would do with, like, they used that as motivation. They worked their ass off the whole year only to end up in the same exact spot, the same exact rink, the same exact locker room that they were last year.
I talked about this with Cody a lot in our Spaces post-game shows because you have so much time to sit on this and talk about, hey, what's ahead in the future, Cody? If that Brad Marchand breakaway goes in that series against Boston, if the Panthers don't make that comeback in Game 7, if they don't even make a Stanley Cup final run there, that gives this current core hope that they can do that moving forward. Winning that Game 7 last year after giving it away up 3-0, and doing it again, like Nick mentioned, so many things could have changed the outlook of this franchise moving forward.
Listen, that Game 7 last year was the biggest game of this franchise's history. Still, and I still think it is. And the full circle moment of them finally winning that Stanley Cup and now back to back. The monumental thing about this is not only like us, like, oh, back to back Stanley Cups, we're a dynasty. We are passing other franchises in legitimacy. We've surpassed Calgary. We've surpassed St. Louis. We've surpassed Carolina. We've surpassed all these teams. Like, we are a legitimate NHL franchise now.
Well, and we're
like, teams that don't have cups, guys, in the Winnipeg Jets, Buffalo Sabres, Vancouver Canucks.
We've surpassed Vancouver. We've surpassed.
We have more teams. Cups than the Washington Capitals, Kirby.
That's pretty cool. They had some peaks and valleys as a franchise.
Right. But it's like you take a look at what that franchise has been through, right? Watching them grow. When I grew
with
up,
Ovechkin.
It was Washington Capitals, Pittsburgh Penguins on NBC. It was Chicago and LA. It was Boston. It was those teams, right? And now fast forward.
Well, they passed Boston and the Rangers.
I mean, hell, we are on the same tier as the LA Kings now.
Well, yeah.
We are the same tier.
1,000%. I don't compare it to Tampa as much because Tampa had that longer, like 10-year run where we haven't had that yet.
If you talk about their whole franchise,
I'm talking about like from 20.
They did steal that cup from Calgary, and then the other two, like Ryan says, Mickey Mouse.
I think ours is it's very impressive.
All three of the Tampa Bay Stanley Cups, guys, you can dispute. The 2 ones against the Florida Panthers versus Connor McDavid, you cannot.
It depends who you ask, actually.
Oh, because of the refs? The refs?
But no, I mean, like,
funny when the whole games go 5-on-5.
It's funny when you lose by 3 goals, by 4 goals, by 5 goals. It's the refs.
Check out the chat. Betty boy. Yes, sir.
But, 3 straight years, 82-game seasons. I mean, this is incredible. Kurt, I just want to take us back to a second.
How many times we gonna go
Beginning of this
back?
playoff. Go ahead, Cody.
It's
Go
like beginning of what playoff when everyone was like, "Oh, you're gonna lose to Tampa."
Yes.
How's it going, Mixie?
That was such shit.
We're gonna
Like, I
lose to
hated that.
Tampa. We're tired. I mean, and I got to say this. This is just a really special night because, again, when I look back at this run, doing this every night with you guys for 2.5 months at every peak and every valley, all the ebbs and
Shit, me and
flows.
Kirby been at this for fucking 3 years now.
I mean,
should I retire, Nick? I said to our post-game show, should I retire? Should I call it quits?
retire on top.
No, Kirby. Ryan's like, no.
But no, you take a
you
look
guys
at
go
it.
into my prime now, huh? You
It's
don't
like-
listen to the comments that I look like Anton Lundell. I don't think he could grow some of this.
Look at the last 2 months, 2.5, 3 months. We been doing this essentially every post game we've done it, and it's stuff like that. I guess it's like the times, like the in between game days, you at the rink, you with the fans, talking to each other, right? I think that's kind of what makes this really special, because it's your experience and going through it with other people that I think it makes you really cherish it more.
Yeah,
and Nick, you really like connect us, Cody, to like when me and Cody are not able to be there. And today I got a message, Cody, from someone in Liverpool, England, saying he's listened to us the entire season, and this is the first time he wanted to reach out in a DM, and he didn't want to bother me today because it was going to be a busy day with me getting messages, and he just wanted to thank all the work that we do all year long. And we don't hear that all the time.
And everybody, Lulu, I know you'll be watching in the morning. Antonio, I don't know if you will be, but shout out to the Holy Water. Shout out to the Holy Water.
And this is a night, Cody,
right
for
here.
all of our chat. And we've come over to YouTube here, and it's just been great to have this brand new audience here with us. It's been very hot.
But I want to shift a bit here because I want to talk about the series itself. Because
we're going to do that on the podcast as well. But go ahead.
Yeah, but we have some stuff here, and because I have like a bunch of tweets like ready to go here.
Okay.
This Stanley Cup final was way more dominant for Florida.
Yeah,
and I mean way more.
But Cody, did it feel like that after the first 2 games? To me, the eye test didn't match, but then as the series went along, the eye test matched.
In hindsight,
where that they kind of married together.
You really think about it, this should have been over in 5. Like Florida gave Edmonton what they got.
Game 4 was.
I think they gave him game 4. I think game 1, Florida was fine.
Edmonton deserved game 1. Edmonton deserved game 1.
And Edmonton deserved game 1, and we were fine up until that Ekholm goal.
But to me, like Cody's going to share some numbers, like he said here in a second. But to me, where it shifted was in between game 5 and game 6, Nick. When Knoblauch didn't know what goalie he was putting out there, didn't know what the pairings were going to be, didn't know what the first. And this wasn't like, hey, the Oilers have done this all year, and this is their MO. I think we were in their heads at that point, and they were running out of gas, and they had a lot of questions. And we knew what we were.
If they were doing this all year, it's going to catch up to them because with Paul Maurice, and I kind of love this kind of style. If it ain't broke, you're not going to fix it. Don't tweak stuff that doesn't need to be tweaked.
Yeah, Cody, you get on, I say I want to see changes, or Nick, when you say changes, Cody's like, don't make any changes here. I'm like, okay, we'll see.
Well, I understand that, but the one thing you've seen with our GM is he's not afraid to make changes.
Well,
that's different. That's different. That's different.
There were some stylistic changes. Like I think our penalty kill was a bit different this year. I think there were some stylistic things. I do think later on in the year we got back to what made us successful last year. In my honest opinion, we've talked about this before. I thought throughout the run, I was more impressed with last year's team than I was with this year's team throughout it. Like I was, more confident. But I'll say this: ever since Game 4 of Toronto, we took off. We blew out teams left and right.
Here's the thing: this run, and this is why I think this run's more impressive. I know Toronto went 7, but we embarrassed teams this run. We completely embarrassed them.
I also think the Toronto going to 7 thing is we got off to a slow start. First 2 games.
It was such a bad start because
it was a bad start. Number 1, and number 2. You getting blown out in games 5 and 7. Essentially, games 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I thought were how the series really were. I don't think the first two games were
Okay,
indicative.
what was it, Nick? This run, was it complacency, fatigue, or was it masterclass by the coaching staff to make adjustments from some of these games that we were getting run out of the building in the Toronto series with the rush chances and different?
You want me to tell you?
So there's got to be some elements.
You want to tell me what
Last
you
year,
want me to tell you what changed it? Number one, going home, and I think adversity. This team faces adversity better than anybody. But number two, the fourth line.
Like,
That fourth line, that is the. I mean, that was the turning point in this run.
No one saw that except Paul Maurice, though.
Tomas Nosek, Jonah Gadjevich, AJ Greer, outstanding during this run.
We would have had
Greer
in there, but we would have had Greer in there, Cody. But would we have had that complete line? I don't know.
I don't think no Panther fan would have had Gadjevich in there.
I don't think I wouldn't have had Gadjevich.
But this stat right here is the telling sign of this series. The Panthers set a record for leading in a championship series. 255 minutes and 49 seconds.
That's crazy.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so crazy to kind of see how dominant we've been. Like, there's a difference between winning a cup, winning cups. We're dominant in doing it. I mean, and go back to, like, you see Seth Jones, Brad Marchand. There was an article today. I forget who it was by. Sportsnet reposted it, Kirby. I'll send it to you. The Panthers have now shifted how NHL trade deadlines need to be approached. And I'm like, that's kind of a weird take on it, right? Because it's like we had the LTIR money. By the way, Matthew Tkachuk's injury, I think he tore the adductor muscle off of his.
He was basically playing with no groin. That was basically
and a hernia on that side. So
yeah,
but I think
it's
go ahead.
But I really want to talk about one guy, and I wholeheartedly believe this. I think he's the most underrated player on this team, and it's not close. And we don't win this. And having this guy as a third line center is a pure luxury. Look at the stats from Anton Lundell this postseason. Florida was up 24-8 in goals during his 5v5 during his time 5-on-5. He outscored the Edmonton on the ice 8-3, with consoling 61% of the expected goals and 64% of the chances. Had tied with Lusto for most 5-on-5 points, only just behind McDavid, and then 2 goals in 37 minutes on the penalty kill.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Anton Lundell, you and I have spoke on that. Cody, Nick, we spoke on it numerous times. 2023 run, 2024 run, now 2025 run. Anton Lundell is in the top 3 Florida Panthers.
And one of the things that I think often get overlooked, we talk about Sam Bennett a lot, and got the Conn Smythe had a phenomenal playoff. Anton Lundell, 18 points in 23 games. And you take a look at his last playoff runs, he's been very consistent.
What are those in front of you?
Pulling them up right now.
We're always surprised to hear this.
In the postseason, so 2 years ago, 10 points in 21 games. Last year, 17 points in 24 games. This year, 18 points in 23 games. So 17 and 24, 18 and 23. I mean,
playing on a third line every one of those runs.
And
only
it's crazy because
games last year.
And I wanted to talk about these the depth for the Panthers here. Take a look at all their scores, right? So the point total for the Panthers had 6 guys, 6 forwards, 6 players with 20 or more points in this playoff run. They also had Losterinen at 7 with 19, Lundell at 18, Rodriguez at 15, then Ekblad and Schmidt. Shout out Nate Schmidt, by the way. Phenomenal this playoff run. It was really good for us this season. Aaron Ekblad, 13, Nate Schmidt, 12, Seth Jones, 9. So you get some scoring there. But Verhaeghe led the team, was tied for first on the team in playoff points, 23 and 23 games. Reinhart, 23 and 21 games.
Can someone tell me where Verhaeghe finished in hits on the team during the playoffs? I'm curious on that. If he's top,
I'll try to check that right now. But Matthew Tkachuk, 23 points in 23 games, despite the injury. So Kirby, we talked about wasn't making an impact, had a really good last 2 rounds, and he was able to produce. He was able to be effective and find his way into series and still be an impact player for us. Barkov, 22 points in 23 games. So I'm right around a point per game. I don't think Connor McDavid – was he on the ice for McDavid's goal the other night?
Barkov?
Yeah.
Well, Reinhardt was.
He might have been.
If he was, that was the first 5-on-5 goal Alexander Barkov has been on the ice for against Connor McDavid in the last 2 cup runs.
That stat should be out there.
And Alexander Barkov's a Hall of Famer. Take a look 3 times.
Check out this resume right here.
I mean, it's unbelievable. And he's going to win many more Selkies. He's going to continue to pile up the points. He's only
damn near – he's already passed Bergeron.
Yeah. I mean, Selke, he's going to continue putting up the points. A couple more Selkies, continue stat padding a bit. Maybe another cup or 2. We'll see where this can go. But right then and there, it's like Alexander Barkov's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. I mean,
okay, I said to my friends in Canada, in Calgary, it was around a poker table. It was probably about 8 years ago now, guys. Barkov's going to win 1 or 2 Stanley Cups, and he has a chance at 1 or 2 Hearts. A lot of people laughed me out of the room. I'm like, I think that's what this guy's.
Elliot Friedman said in any other era he'd win a Hart. The problem is now in today's NHL with the Dreisaitl's and McDavid and McKinnon's, how lethal they score, how much they score, how lethal they are offensively.
But it's a Conn Smythe or even a Lindsay. That's pretty close.
Yeah, but I think 4 or 5 Selkies, 2 cups, and being a captain and he's going to get over 1,000 points in his career.
And he was a top 2-3 player last place. And now you got to look at this series. I don't know if Panther fans will agree with this, but you kind of got to say Barkov outplayed McDavid in both Stanley Cup finals. I know McDavid has the plays and the flash.
And Sam Reinhart, Kirby, we were talking about.
What's your guys' thoughts on that?
On Barkov outplaying
McDavid both Stanley Cup finals series.
I wonder if Connor McDavid was hurt this year. Connor McDavid had 7 points in 6 games this series. Now people say that's over a point per game. Well,
1 goal.
It reminds me very similarly of what we did to Nikita Kucherov last year in round 1.
Guys, what quote is that? Quick trivia already in the offseason.
Patrick Waugh, Jeremy Roenick.
There, ding, ding. Cody knows all the answers.
But I also want to talk another thing about Alexander Barkov. When people are going to have this conversation, nobody in the league, very few people in the league, when it comes to centers, when it comes to people you compare him to, has had the amount of success, has won as much as Alexander Barkov. Nathan McKinnon has 1 cup. Barkov has 2. Matthews has 0. McDavid has 0. You take a look at Kopitar. He has 2. I just mentioned McKinnon has 1.
From the other era, though.
Draisaitl, he has none. Yep. So you take a look. Nobody has had the amount. Alexander Barkov has had more success than almost any other top caliber player in this league.
You guys know this on our post-game show. We talk about this quite often. I said there's going to be superstar players from this era that are not going to have a Stanley Cup when it's all said and done. And this was before Barkov had his first. I'm like, that's the reality of it. And it's crazy to think it's Draisaitl, McDavid, and Matthews right now.
And those are like 4 of like the top 5 centers in this league.
And McKinnon, people have had those 3 at the top of the league at one point.
Nobody's won more than Alexander Barkov. Like he averages a 92-point pace. He's going to be front runner for the Selke every year. He's going to perform pretty good in the playoffs, around a point per game, and do the same thing in the postseason. And he wins. He wins. People say, when we look back at great players' careers, right? And I think this is actually a good time to have this conversation because these are times to really talk about what these cup wins mean.
Yeah, because people are going to listen.
Legacies.
This is like legacy talk here.
I'll talk about Sam Reinhart in a second, but Alexander Barkov, nobody has won more than him. Nobody. You can talk about anything else, all the points in the world. Who has 2 cups? Who is the captain of the standard in the NHL? Who's the number 1 center?
Now past Pavel Datsyuk.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the one that said he was always going to have to chase for the entirety of his career, Cody. Pavel Datsyuk.
Look, that's the damn.
He's not even 30 yet. He's not even.
Taves now better than.
Well, he's not even 30 yet, Kirby. That's the crazy part. He's not even 30 years old.
It's
So he's doing this all before 30, and this is a guy that's going to age very well. And then you take a look
all this stuff gets changed now, Nick, when we're like, maybe in 4 years or maybe in 8 years' time. All of this now with this Stanley Cup. I said tonight I know you want to get into him here in a second. Sam Reinhart's a Hall of Famer. I put the tweet up.
1,000%. Sergei Bobrovsky, Hall of Famer. Matthew Tkachuk. Well, Bobrovsky was a Hall of Famer. Even
Tkachuk's got to have a couple more years of hockey. But
he's well on his way. Sam Reinhart, 7 goals in the Stanley Cup final. I think that's tied with Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier and one other guy, I believe. If I'm talking.
And this is a guy tonight, and Sam Reinhart scores 4 goals, by the way. Canadian media is like mentioning all the names on the Panthers, and they're like, we haven't even mentioned Sam Reinhart yet. He might kill them in a cup clinching game.
Well, here's the thing.
And
last year, all they talked about was Sam Reinhart because he was a pending UFA.
Bennett, Marchand, Tkachuk's starting to get going now. Hey, maybe Barkov could do so. Hey, Bob, he could just shut the door tonight. Oh, and what about that Sam Reinhart guy?
Oh, and
like the 5th, 6th name mentioned.
I just think it's incredible when you take a look at Sergei Bobrovsky, Sam Reinhart, Alexander Barkov, arguably Matthew Tkachuk, and I'll say this, not to shift topics fully over there yet. When I compare our run to some of these other teams, the defense score, how we did it, I'm not trying to diminish it, but it's not as good as those other teams. And there are a lot, there are a lot of questions with this defense score.
But are the other teams' 3rd and 4th lines as good as ours?
Well, no. And, the 3rd line, take a look at these stats here. Marchand at 20 points, Lostarinen at 19, Lundell at 18.
Hey, what's funny? You guys mentioned all those names. We haven't even said the name that won the Conn Smythe yet.
Oh, we were kind of saving that.
Numbers there, Cody. Some stats there. Cody, can you bring that headspace down?
Nah, I'm chilling right here. I'm just leaning back.
He's going to be a
Sam Bennett, Kirby, 15 goals, Conn Smythe winner. Obviously, right now, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, came to Florida, revitalized his career playing with Jonathan Huberdeau. Matthew Tkachuk comes in. He continues that pace. And you take a look now, the story is going to obviously be he's a pending UFA. There's been a lot of sort of rumors. I think we're gonna start to hear a lot of that over the next week or 2,
days. Yeah.
and next couple of days. This is going to be a very active rest of the month when it comes to our pending UFAs and pending UFAs around the league.
At least we have more than a week this time.
Yeah, Sam Bennett, this playoff run. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, it's incredible to kind of see. I'm surprised still. Last year they gave it to McDavid. Obviously, I was a little surprised they didn't give it to Marchand. I really thought that
would have been my pick.
That would have been
my pick.
I thought journalists. I thought the Canadian media would have said, "Oh, well, it's Brad Marchand. He's name recognition. He's a name."
Vegas odds number was dropping closer and closer to Bennett.
But I think Bennett being a pending UFA, his history with the Maple Leafs, Bennett has name recognition too. Not of the
Is
level.
It a little bit of the Canadian media? Let's give it to Bennett, and that's going to be more money.
Well, that could be it. I thought about that, but
I wouldn't put it past.
Great for Sam Bennett. I mean,
it's like, hey, they got the no state income tax. Let's give some more votes. But Bennett deserved it. But let's give him some more votes on the back end here. Just, bring those numbers up a bit. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he absolutely deserved it, Sam Bennett. I thought he didn't get on the score sheet tonight, but I thought he had a hell of a game. I thought it was that line early on that was really starting our forecheck, getting that cycle game going. The second line.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I thought the second and third line were outstanding. And, Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett, like we've seen the damage they can do in the past. A healthier Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett doing what he was doing best. I mean, playoff time, we know he elevates his game. We're going to
hold on, Nick. When Matthew Tkachuk scored the goal, who were the 2 players out on the ice with them, forwards?
Lundell and Lostarinen. That was a beautiful pass by Lusto.
Lundell, let's get to Lundell again. 5 plays he made on that. He had the breakaway to put the Oilers on their heels. He had the interception play there. He makes the play over to Lusto. He also fills the lane driving up the ice when Tkachuk scores that goal. And he did one other thing defensively, I think. He did 4 or 5 things on that shift. That is the Lundell shift. That should be the shift talked about for years to come. You know, like how they talked about Kulikov last year and Mikola's play. I think you got to talk about that Anton Lundell shift on the Tkachuk. People are messaging me and they said, Kirby, no longer can they talk about Reinhart or Tkachuk for scoring these goals. I don't want to hear their. I'm like, what are you, Tkachuk? How about Anton Lundell on that goal? That was unbelievable.
Most underrated Panther, most underrated Panther, and it's not even.
So everyone, I want every Panther fan listening to this, go back and watch just Lundell on that Tkachuk goal. His whole shift.
Well, I'm looking at some of these Stanley Cup final stats just themselves, and Sam Reinhart, obviously, the big night tonight adds to it, but he's got 7 goals, 10 points in 6 games. Verhaeghe had 9 points in 6 games. Matthew Tkachuk tied Connor McDavid with 7 points in 6 games. Anton Lundell, a point-per-game player, as was Sam Bennett, Lostereen, and also Marchand there as well. Nate Schmidt, 5 points in 6 games, is the leading defensive scorer, played over 18 minutes a night. And obviously, we've been talking a lot about the forwards now. We've talked a bit about the fourth line. I really want to talk about, before we get the goaltending, the defense. There were times in this run, Gustav Forsling looked very tired, which was and I thought fatigue might have been a factor, maybe injury. And then you take a look at how he played as the Stanley Cup final progressed. I thought he got better, which was 100%.
The first pair as a whole were phenomenal. Ever since game 1, which was their nightmare game.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't even have a problem with them.
Cody?
What?
Maybe the first period of game 2, first 2 periods. That
because
third.
Remember, Forsling didn't turn it on until the third period in overtime of that second game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So
after that,
think that for me was obviously a big thing. Seth Jones, our ice time leader throughout the playoffs.
Every series too, Nick, you think?
I could check that right now. I think he was at.
I might have been in there on one of them.
Take a look here. Stand by.
He might have been every series.
He might have been.
Our ice time leader was Aaron Ekblad at 27:10. However, Seth Jones was only 10 seconds less at 27.
Probably because the amount of penalty kills we had.
Well, yeah, and
I'm talking in this series, Nick.
Yes, in this series alone.
I think Ekblad led the team in ice time in one other series. Might have been the Toronto.
But throughout the course of the series, Seth Jones led our team in ice.
At the end of the
playoffs. 25 and a half minutes. And the guys say he can't play 25, 26, 27 minutes. This guy, 25 and a half minutes, the top ice time guy on the Stanley Cup champs. This isn't middle of the road. This isn't 25. This isn't 25, 26 minutes on a fringe playoff team. This is 25, 26 minutes on the Stanley Cup champions. The back-to-back.
He wasn't carried by anyone. He did a lot of the carrying, Nick.
Well, yeah, and he had to step up without Aaron Ekblad. He was put into a very difficult spot by the Ekblad suspension, and he did a phenomenal job. On Aaron Ekblad,
just jump back to Seth Jones. Remember what Paul Maurice said? Guys, he hasn't even had one training camp with the team yet. Relax.
Well, he's going to get one in about a couple months. But I think Aaron Ekblad, I did want to comment on this. He had a very good playoff, looked a lot better, a lot healthier.
I should comment on this.
And while he was carrying the cup, he was skating past us, just lifting the cup saying, "Thank you." Kind of taking it all in a bit. Maybe you're reading into it a bit too much. But, obviously we know the rumors out there that, he could be on the move. But the greatest defenseman in Florida Panthers history.
If you say Forsling, you're wrong. I don't give a damn.
It's Aaron Ekblad, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, gave his body.
And if you say Sfela, you're wrong again too.
So you could tell he was taking it in a bit.
I just want to get in here. Big C's. We miss him here tonight. Might be at the Elbow Room. He met Aaron Ekblad's brother today. He's like, Kirby, you know who this is in the photo? I'm like, that's Big C's in the photo. I don't know who this guy is, but if I had to guess, that looks like Aaron Ekblad's brother.
I said the same exact thing.
They look alike.
But the thing is, I guess before we continue any further.
Yeah, and we want, Cody, just to jump in quick, we want everyone to subscribe to the Big C's channel down below there and to our YouTube channel. We're close to
But before we continue, we got to, with the Panthers winning the Stanley Cup now, there's going to be a lot of merch. Some hats, polos, hoodies,
What about a new one of these, Cody?
maybe a patch.
Gotta get a patch.
Maybe a little mini banner of some sorts. I wonder where we can get something like that, huh?
Panthers fever is here. Are you geared up? Caneswear in Davie is the place for all your Florida Panthers needs. They have the latest gear for our favorite NHL team. Jerseys, polos, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, and more. Caneswear has you covered. Stop by their store in Davie or at pantherswear.com. Again, that's pantherswear, WEAR.com for all your Panthers gear.
And
I love this comment before you.
Yep.
You got it in front of you there, Cody. I know you're traveling right now.
Not in front of me
Yeah,
currently.
I have it here. We want to give a special shout out to Jeremy Beckham. He joined us on our post-game show. Appreciate Jeremy. He's been with us all year long on the post-game shows. I know he has to go to bed for these late YouTube shows, but he does watch back in the morning. Hey, Panther fans in South Florida and need real estate help? Check out Jeremy Beckham with Next Home Treasure Coast. It's a boutique service with a personal touch. Jeremy and his team put humans over houses, working hard for you, whether you're buying or selling. Ready to move? Hit up BexSellsFLA.com or call 772-475-5371. Again, that's 772-475-5371. Now, you'll be glad you did. And we appreciate our sponsors all year long here.
Yep.
In this championship season.
And appreciate it. But unfortunately, I don't have the trash can here with me.
Oh,
but
does the team travel? It don't travel?
But we got to get to it.
I think we know who
you're not going to say my guy. Me and Cody were
Do you know who it is?
I were getting into a dispute on our post-game show about a certain Oiler player.
Yeah, but it's not him.
That's wrong.
No, I'll just explain my reasoning for this one.
Kirby, it's not.
No, it's not. It's not him.
I knew he wasn't going to do
that. The FSU Trash Can Player of the Game is brought to you by Florida State University, the greatest university on planet Earth. Go Noles. The FSU Trash Can Player of the Game is Mr. Evander Kane.
That I'll take that. That's a good one.
No, I think he's given a series recognition on that one, not just.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit of everything.
Hey,
want to take dumbass penalties all series long, get demoted to the fourth line, okay? You just want to go up and just slash Tkachuk at the end of this game here to get thrown out. Okay, you could go ahead and do that. But to stay in the locker room during the handshake line.
Oh, I did not know this.
During the most respectful time is absolute trash. Absolute trash. And people for saying, he got thrown out of the game. He's not allowed. He is allowed to come back. When Claude Lemieux destroyed Chris Draper, he's shaking hands with the Red Wings in the conference championship merch.
With his Western Conference final championship hat and t-shirt on.
Yes. Yeah. He's out there shaking those hands.
In his flip-flops, I think it was.
Yes. And
he almost murdered the guy.
And I don't care if you had a problem with Matthew Tkachuk this year. I don't give a damn. This is about respect. It's about just the tradition. We've had many times where teams hated each other, but still took 2 seconds to shake a damn hand. Like, hell, you could have did what Brodeur did with Avery and just skipped his hand.
I am going to amend Cody for not picking Evan Bouchard because I did not know that. I came live from our X Spaces to hear. So I'm just catching up on a lot of that. So, Cody, thank you for enlightening me on that. Nick, your thoughts on that?
Well, I think, again, I agree. I mean, you're losing 5-1 in a Stanley Cup final. You don't think you start shit. Like, in any other playoff game, a 5-1 game, that would have gotten out of hand. You think they knew it being a clinching game, you don't really do that. Evander Kane just pokes Matthew Tkachuk in there for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe he's a little upset. He lost again. But I think you come out of the locker room and you do. Like, people were bitching at McDavid for not getting the Conn Smythe coming out of the – I'm like, the guy just lost game 7. He's with his team. You think, oh, I'm going to go out, pick it up, carry it. Hey, guys, and I'm going to walk in the locker room with it. No.
And there's a delay in between that. There's sometimes like, well, it's not a commercial break, but it's almost like a commercial break.
No, you wait. You wait for it. They have to set it up.
They could set it up by the dressing room and award it to him there. And then if he didn't come out, then I would have a different take on that.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I agree with Cody. Evander Kane definitely should have come out, shake his hand again. You don't even have to shake it. You don't have to say anything to him.
It's a sign of respect.
So
now let's
another part I wanted to say real quick. This is a tweet by Drew Livingstone.
Oh boy,
Connor McDavid in game 6 and 7 last year was +1 with no points. In games 5 and 6 this year, -5 with 1 point. Connor McDavid.
Hey, I'm not going to besmirch the name of Connor McDavid, but is he kind of getting that Mitch Marner label when it comes to Stanley Cup final, ladder games of series?
Yeah. He's
I mean, again, I think.
I like. Does Mario have those numbers?
I do want to take a look at Edmonton here, and I'm sure we'll talk about this throughout the course of the offseason. They had so many holes. I mean, the depth, you lose Holloway, you lose McLeod, you lose Fogle, you bring in Ardvinson and Jeff Skinner, who were scratches majority of the playoffs.
Jeff Skinner
scratch in the regular season.
Regular season. I mean, and then you fill in with other guys like 40-year-old Corey Perry, Vasily Podkolzin, and Kasperi Kevin. Yeah, they did fine, but you need better depth than that. I liked what they did with the blue line. That's actually the one area I think they wasn't as big an issue. For the who knows how many straight years now, they refuse to address the goaltending. It's putrid. If you have to ask yourself, who's my starting goaltender, and there might not in the Stanley Cup final, you just worked your ass off the whole year from losing game 7 last year to get all the way back to this point. And now you might get screwed, and you did get screwed.
No, but remember, Nick, in 2023, Bob makes too much money. He's sitting on the bench. Maybe he's washed. You don't need to pay your goaltender money. You don't need to know who your goaltender is.
But here's the thing.
Here's the thing. They refused to address it, and it cost them. I don't want to say they wasted the whole year, but last year was supposed to be the learning experience. This was supposed to be it. If you wanted my honest opinion, I had the Edmonton Oilers winning the Stanley Cup preseason.
That's fine. I had Colorado.
I
think I was Dallas before the year.
I thought it was going to work out, and the way they were playing.
They don't care about the regular season. They care about the playoffs. They said that more than Florida.
But here's the thing.
Here's the thing now. Ready? They did that. They lost last year. They came back. This was supposed to be it. They didn't fix some of the goaltending. They didn't fix the goaltending. Some of the depth was questionable. And now you've lost again. Last year, you lead the playoffs. You're upset, fine, but you're optimistic, you're hopeful. I don't really know how you lose, how you are.
You got to be careful with that word, Jamie. Can't use that word in Quebec.
I don't know how you don't address the goaltending, number one, but how do you feel after this loss if you're Edmonton? Like, when we lost to Vegas, it was devastating, but it's like, I mean, this is great experience. But going to a cup final, losing one thing, fine. Going to 2 straight, I mean, this was supposed to be it. Edmonton needed to win this year, but they didn't.
Yeah, but here's the difference between the Oilers and the Panthers, really. It's in the way they are managed.
Oh,
because,
no doubt.
As we have said, when it comes to cap space, Bill Zito dots his I's and crosses his T's. He makes sure he's not wasting a damn cent because he knows how valuable each dollar is. You look at the difference between them. Jeff Skinner, 1 year, $3 million. Tomasz Nosek for the Panthers, 1 year, $900K.
Nate Schmidt, $800,000.
Yes. Like, the biggest contract we gave was to AJ Greer, 2 years, $850,000. That was the biggest contract the Panthers gave out this free agency.
It was all like 1 year deals outside.
And also, the injury to Zach Hyman was not ideal. I know. I'm
100%.
I mean, But does that really change the series?
Not if you believe the metrics and all the numbers.
I mean, I think what we did.
So McDavid gets 2 more goals because of Hyman's forecheck?
I mean, it's tough to say. Like, I saw a tweet says, "Well, if Hyman's in, Oilers win in 6."
No.
With all due respect, these last couple games that weren't close. Game tonight wasn't close. Game 5 wasn't close. Game 4 should not have been close. Game 3 was not close. I mean, again, it takes a couple games for the Panthers to get into it, but eventually they find their game and they wear you down. And I mean, they were dominating at certain points. Like, take a look at some of those Toronto games, the Carolina games, and even these Edmonton games. I mean, blowing teams out.
Yeah, but the thing is,
be on the cycle game tonight.
But the thing is, with the managing thing is, I didn't even get to the worst contract. The worst contract is Victor Arvidsson, 2 years, $4 million per,
with a no trade clause.
And they brought him in to play on Draisaitl's wing on the second line.
Well, they thought they were getting a 20-25 goal scorer who could win those puck battles, get to the front of the net.
A guy that could match up with Carter Verhaeghe.
Yeah, in a sense. And they thought Jeff Skinner was like, oh, this is a guy that could pop 30 goals. Just put him next to McDavid, see what he can do. It never worked out. They tried him on the bottom 6 role. And, I do feel for Edmonton. I do feel for Connor McDavid because, again, no other – like, I'll say this. Like, I don't think if you put it's McDavid and Draisaitl, look at the rest of that team.
They didn't fail McDavid. These are the choices they made.
Wait, Nick, let's rephrase here. He didn't get a no-trade clause.
No move. He
got a full no move.
Oh, my gosh. They thought they upgraded there. Like, Ryan McLeod had 53 points. Dylan Holloway had over 60 points. Philip Broberg was a 35-point, 20-minute defenseman. Warren Fogle put up, I think, a career high in goals.
Yeah, they didn't think he was going to do that again. And as much as Ryan McLeod was a speed demon, they didn't like the consistency in his game.
And the depth, I mean, it had some flashes here and there this series, was not as effective as it was.
Yeah, but they're depending on Todd Colson and Captain that have never really done it in the past.
But here's
Connor Brown and Janmark were
not like last year.
But let's talk about the free agents Edmonton has, shall we? Corey Perry, Jeff Skinner, Connor Brown, Kasperi Kapanen, Trent Frederick on the forward front. In the D, John Klingberg, no big deal. Then Evan Bouchard.
Who's $9 to $10.5 million.
I think he's, and they have 11.9 left.
They need to try like hell. They need to try like hell to move that Nurse and Arvidsson contract. Those two contracts.
They can't move either of them. They both have NMCs.
And
Nurse, how much are you going to retain? Do you guys know how much they're retaining on Jack Campbell over the next 3 to 4 years?
It's like $3.5 million, isn't it?
Next year's 2.6. Isn't that against the cap?
2.2. Yeah, it's 2.3 next year. The year after, it's 2.6.
So and again, there are so many holes there. They have a couple of bad contracts and cap issues.
They're paying 3 goalies, and they have 0.
I mean, you take a look at some other goalies. Like, they could have gotten Logan Thompson for what? A second-round pick? Who makes $760,000?
Could have got Cord or...
Yeah, but here's the thing with Bouchard. You're saying he's going to get 9.5? I think he's getting Darlene money.
He could, at a minimum.
All I'll say is this, and Kirby, I know you agree. I think the comments out of Edmonton last year, I think there was more pride behind their team. There was a lot of excitement and optimism. I mean, this year's different.
They had no doubt coming into the season with their depth and everything they did on the blue line that they added with Klingberg and Wallman, and they ended up playing well up to the season.
And I'll stand on this. Their biggest mistake was not matching Broberg. That was the mistake.
Well, Holloway, too. He makes 2.25.
Yeah, but Holloway wasn't going to do what he did in St. Louis and Edmonton. I'm going to stand on that.
You just replace Broberg with Wallman, and I like Jake Wallman. I think he's a pretty good player. He's an asshole, but whatever.
Is he laughing? Is he laughing?
Asshole as Aho is.
By the way,
Is he-
the second he did that stupid little bullshit laugh,
Oh, we got to put that tweet out. I didn't do that today. I'll do that tomorrow.
Is he laughing at Nosek now?
is he laughing at Nosek?
Hey, show my picture.
I think
here.
Nosek's
so
doing
that's-
this right now.
We need an
Cool
update
moment.
of this picture here. You see it, Nick? We need an update of that.
No,
Jamie,
we don't
you're
need
beyond
to
that,
change
right?
much. We don't need to
Yeah,
And
change
again,
much.
we just need to
Draisaitl.
change.
McDavid and Draisaitl.
We need to change what, 2 teams?
We need to change 2 teams, Kirby. But I want to say this: Nosek and Schmidt, they had a embrace with each other. They both, I think it was back to back, they hoisted the cup. They were together in Vegas when they lost against
yeah.
Washington. So that's got to be a pretty cool moment for him. Tomasz Nosek out of the lineup, comes back in, doesn't really find his game until the playoffs. When he comes back in, he plays really well, probably the Nosek they thought they were getting when they originally signed him, and takes a tough penalty in game 1, but in the end, it's just stories like that. It's pretty cool. Jesper Boqvist, Kirby Popcorn Boy was on the ice
Oh
tonight.
yeah, Popcorn Boy was on the ice.
You're like, does he get his name on the cup?
You know what? I'm happy Mackey does though. Mackey does get his.
Real fans that liked Adam Boqvist, I don't want to get on you, but there was a lot of annoying people out there this year that just.
Hell, you wanted to sign him.
Yeah, and then it got so bad that the fans they were driving me up a wall.
Yeah,
I'm like, wave the guy. Why are we gonna wave him? He's like top 4 defenseman or power. Remember, Nick, he was given power play one time coming into camp. We end the season
I still can't believe
at the Jones
how different our team was 8 months ago at the beginning of the year. Like it's
defensively.
It's ridiculous to me. You take a look. We had Jesper Boqvist on our 3rd line. I mean,
even the forwards, yeah.
I mean, we had Dmitry Kulikov on our top. This team, if Matthew Tkachuk does not get hurt, we do not win the Stanley Cup. Like, this team was not good enough to win the Stanley Cup.
A legitimate injury, everyone. He probably got it getting in the fight with Brandon Hagel.
Kirby, I just can't believe this roster. I hate to say it.
You guys can thank Canada for that.
And the Tampa Bay we are now talking about a dynasty because Matthew Tkachuk got hurt, and you take a look at it's just unbelievable.
But it's the domino effect of everything that has to go well.
Exactly.
And like what Zito brings in like 3 years ago, what he's done on the contract extension.
This roster was not good enough. We would have been able to maybe marginally add at the deadline at best. We wouldn't have really done much with the roster. The roster wasn't good enough to go to where we just got.
Option.
So you go to 4 Nations, you have Matthew Tkachuk get hurt. Then you deal, because of that, you're able to move Spencer Knight and get Seth Jones, put Tkachuk in LTIR, able to get a BS whatever backup goalie. Glad for Vanacek. He's an awesome dude, I'm sure, but he'll be on another team hopefully next year.
I'll stand on this. It was like the games he got left out to dry.
Yeah, well,
but you're going to get to Marchand here, Nick,
and we don't win the cup.
Injury to Tkachuk. We thought when the Marchand trade happened, we did it live here on YouTube channel. Check us out. The live trade deadline will be here on July 1st. Shameless plug there. When he got injured, we were still thinking, how are we bringing Marchand? Is Lusto going out the door? I remember Matthew Tkachuk in the group text was like, oh, I think we're trading Lusto or whatever. We thought someone had to go out the door, like an Erod, a Lusto, something.
Yeah, I think there wasn't really a need for it. But again, I didn't
think it added in the moment.
When you took a look at our top 9, there wasn't really a need. It's kind of like, remember that original plan had Erod on line 4 with Sturm and Greer or Boqvist or whoever?
Yeah,
I hated that idea.
I didn't love that idea, but you take a look at
Mackey. We didn't mention him.
Mackey, when he wasn't playing, I'm like, are we going to trade him? I'm like, he might not play Mackey in the playoffs, right? I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah, right.
I did say that. I'm like, he could be a healthy scratch come playoff time. Now again,
no.
He's able to. He puts up 15 goals for us. He plays 75 games. He plays a handful. I think he played 6 or 7 or 8 playoff games or something like that.
I didn't really envision Mackey being out of the lineup, but I didn't envision him being on a 3rd line checking line and us going to win a Stanley Cup.
No, but
it's not going to work.
He plays 75 games, played 5-6 playoff games.
Who would it have been? Rod with Lundell and Lusto and then Mackey up the lineup if we didn't have Marchand? Something like that.
Yeah, but then we're probably out in the second round. You know, I think Mackey, again, there's just an adjustment period there, and that's fine. Brad Marchand's a difference maker.
But they didn't want to have that adjustment period with Mackey if they could bring in a veteran presence.
Well, correct.
Like Marchand. They're like, we're not skipping this year. That's how aggressive Zito is.
Well,
Fans like, well, we might not get it this year. Maybe not get it.
But then we turned it. This became a cup year after Four Nations. This was not a year we were going to win the Stanley Cup. I do not believe a repeat was really that realistic up until Four Nations. And this became
no one was picking us after the load management and injuries, the suspensions.
Well, again, it became a cup year when the injury happened. And that's when Zito said, okay, I have an opportunity. Let's go do it. And it
not a lot of teams to do that. There's
like, what?
Everyone wants to be Zito, but do they do what Zito does?
Like, what was the trade deadline? 3.5 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay. 3.5 months ago. 3.5, 4 months ago, we weren't thinking cup. I mean, realistically, it would have been very difficult.
Optimistic fans, you don't want to crush them.
But 3.5, 4 months, 3.5 months ago, that's when this became a thing. That's when it changed. And this changed very quickly. It changed towards the latter part of the season. And it's kind of crazy, like how different trajectories can change. An injury to Matthew Tkachuk in Four Nations leads to this, and who knows what it can lead to in the future.
And people across sports are going to agree with me on this. Is Bill Zito the best manager in all of sports at making adjustments in season and like shifting and changing the room and the team and the DNA of that roster?
There's only one other guy or GM, I think, actually in all of sports that's kind of like on Zito's tier. And Kirby's going to hate me for saying it. But I think the only other GM is probably Howie Roseman of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he's the only other one.
Because of what he does at trade deadlines too?
Trade deadlines, the draft. Like the championship speaks for itself.
No, Nick, if we can argue. I want
no comment.
Nick, just so you know, Cody, thanks for bringing that name up. Because me and Nick, if you guys don't know, we're Cowboys fans. But Nick mentions that name quite a bit in our office.
Yeah, but the thing is like I didn't even bring that name up to make fun of you guys. I genuinely think that's the only other
all the time.
Like that's the only other guy I can think of because baseball there really isn't
a phenomenal night. Let's not ruin it. Be bringing up the fucking Eagles. All right.
But you asked me, is there a better Is there?
I didn't ask.
Fall into that, Nick. I didn't think I was going to fall into that question. And he hit us. Cody gets the W there.
No.
Yeah, but I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Well, my brother.
Anyway.
Like that's just the thing. And like coaching in all of sports, the only other better coach than Maurice right now is what? Andy Reid?
There's no coach. Maurice is the best coach in the NHL right now. Also, Paul Maurice.
Nick, this question he's going to say in the world. He's like, is there a soccer?
I'm not going to rule that out, Curb. I'm not going to rule that. But I'll say this. I think Chris Knobloch is right up there. I mean, Connor
the
McDavid.
One guy you can't blame entirely with this is Chris. I don't like how he handled the games 5-6, but
but I think he gets handcuffed a bit by certain things. Like, I mean, if you gave him our roster, like I'll just say this, I think we'd be in very good shape. I think we would be very similar in terms of success. Also, Paul Maurice, 3 series, shutting down and beating Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. He swept them with.
I gotta post this comment for Kirby to laugh. Marchand would have went to New Jersey if we didn't lose Hughes.
New Jersey. That's a long time ago.
You would have lost in 6 instead of.
Would have broken some of his sticks over the Devils players' legs, starting with Dougie Hamilton.
You probably would have gave fucking Marchand the C over Heishier.
He's like, let me have that C.
Speaking of that, obviously, in the midst of this phenomenal night, talked about almost everything we could have possibly talked about. There are pending UFAs: Brad Marchand, Aaron Ekblad, Sam Bennett.
That if we didn't address this, but we're going to address this over many weeks ahead here.
We're going to be talking about this. Not that we haven't talked about it enough already, but this is you're going to start to hear a lot more now.
We're going to hear some stuff.
We're going to hear a lot of different things. Shout out Sean from LA. Appreciate it. Of course, I picked you guys to beat Edmonton.
You guys need to fire your coach immediately.
Sean, you're not going to like to hear this, but I said LA was going to win the first 2 games, and then the Oilers were winning the next 4. I hit that on the freaking nose.
Yeah, but
I really root for LA over Edmonton.
If he didn't have that dumbass challenge.
But yeah, I mean, we'll be talking.
These are the slim margins we talk about in the playoffs.
Yeah, but we'll be talking about the Bennett, Marchand, Ekblad thing.
But sorry to interrupt, Nick. You wanted to say something on that?
Whatever happens, make sure, like everybody says, trust Zito, right? I mean, he's the best general manager.
That's what you guys told me last year with my favorite guys, Reinhart, Monter, Barkov are my favorite guys, and you said Kirby, trust Zito in this.
Well,
I mean, Seth Jones.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty good.
And now I'm losing my guy. That sucks. But
this is why you don't have any guys.
If Cody through this, Lex has been through this with Gudis. You know, I was through it last year. It sucks when it's your guy. I'm
going to cry when Bob leaves. I'm not going to lie.
Steve's in our community. Big Bennett guy. Don't know if Bennett's going anywhere. But again, it sucks when it's your guy. I mean, and you have these conversations. You know,
yeah, and you know, obviously,
we talk about it. You lose players.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of reports. You know, I don't really know what's true and what's not because you hear everything from everyone.
You know who my favorite player was on this run, Nick? And I can't believe it was
Marchand.
Yeah, and it's gonna suck to lose.
Yeah, I don't get it. I'm like Tarasenko as a rental, whatever. I mean, I didn't really like even Giroux. I was like, whatever. I mean, thanks for nothing, really. But you know, Marchand, and I'm not just saying this because you know, like obviously it plays.
I think you would have said this if we came up short.
Yeah, I think Marchand. It's just a different type of player, man, and he's going to go get his money, and it's going to be very difficult because it kind of feels a guy that's becomes so part of the fabric and culture in such a short period of time. And it kind of feels like he's a Panther lifer, even though he's been a Panther for 3 months.
But
and I was just going to say this. He was so unbelievably good throughout this run. Getting to watch that guy night in and night out, in person, on TV, wherever, dominate, turn back the clock. I mean, it was an unbelievable.
No matter what, he's a Panther.
Pleasure, right? So, I mean, unbelievable that been able to see. I was able to see that guy play in a Panther uniform. I mean,
and Nick, it's so hard for you to be like me or Cody or people that aren't there at the rink, not to have your favorites or get attachment. And
I have my favorites.
You do a really good job of that.
I have my favorites. And I think when this is all said and done, I'll be very nostalgic about this time and this team. You know, Bob, Barkov. I'm not going to lie. It's going to hurt a little bit to see Ekblad go. I mean, you grow up with that guy, right? Like
that's your and Cody's era,
right? So, like, I was
like Huberdeau was for
Huberdeau. I mean, Huberdeau was. I was a little, you know, was losing Jonathan Huberdeau is a big deal.
Cody was like Huberdeau, your second favorite.
But it's like I think it's also kind of weird. It's because like really often do you see a guy who plays this role on a team?
He may have been
who's been a lifer on that team. Be let walk to free agency at that age following back-to-back Stanley Cup wins. It is a very unique situation with Aaron Ekblad. He's 29. He's not super old. He plays a pivotal role on this team, and the team has had success, and he's been a Panther lifer, and there's a very good chance he goes to free agency. I can't remember anything like that, but the injury concern, the age concern, some of the money and term involved, I understand it, but those are dynamics that usually say that guy's an automatic re-sign, right?
And it hurts. It hurts. Like with Monter, it's different than Ekblad. He wasn't with the franchise as long as Ekblad was. So
he was only here for 3-4 years.
Apples and oranges. But to me, with Monter last year, I had closure winning the cup. As Ekblad fans, if he's your number one guy, like Cody, Daniel, shout out to him in our
community. That's a guy you think retired.
There. He gets 2 Stanley Cups. You go out
even though he goes elsewhere, I feel like in the future he'll like come back for like one last ride in a Panther uniform.
I just think it's very odd It's a unique situation to have a guy.
But when you
who's-
win, to me, that's closure. It's not sadness. It's
no, but it's still weird. It's like you have success with him. He plays a pivotal role on your team. He's not super old. Like all those dynamics usually just lead to an automatic re-sign, but he's not.
Running for it. It's not like, hey, it ended too short. Or
no, but I think it's like, again, you think that's a guy who's going to retire a Panther, and he very well might. I don't know. He could resign tomorrow.
And I've got on Ekblad. I've been critical. I think his legacy, when it's all said and done, if this is the end of the line for Ekblad, he had better success team-wise than you could say maybe individually. Individual stuff, he had some years, but it was
individual success.
Still ended up being a very, very.
You can look at it from a team success standpoint and say, look at how I finished out.
And here's the thing. I mean, his personal accolades, they're not too bad either. I mean, it's
Calder Trophy winner.
I mean, those aren't anything.
But I had expectations of
Dowdy.
Dowdy.
Well, I understand. You're going from.
But the injuries really nerve.
Dowdy and the injuries. But you take a look. He still ended up being a very good top pairing defenseman for us, winning cups, having good team success, having some really good personal success. Some
like you said, that the picture, the facade on the building. He got to come back? It's on the building.
I drove past the rink before the cup final. They were putting up the thing pretty easily, so maybe they could take it down. Stanley Cup patch up pretty easily, so maybe they could take it down.
Barkov, right?
Yeah, but it's just
hard to.
Again, Ben, I agree. It'll be very weird, especially the situation as a whole. Most teams, you just re-sign the guy. I understand where we're at, where he's at, but again, very grateful to him. I mean, it's
But you felt being in the rink tonight. This is the end.
Say that one more time.
Felt being in the rink tonight. This is.
I did. I think
wherever he goes, I'm buying that jersey though.
I don't know if you see it when he got the cup. He stood there right in front of the whole crowd, looking up to like where the Stanley Cup banner hangs, and he just lifts the cup up and he's like staring there. He's just going around the whole rink saying thank you. So
and he wanted Kulikov to hand the cup off to him like last year. There was a talk there that they had.
Yeah, because Kulikov, I think, was his vet probably. Him and
he talked about Kulikov being there when he was there. I think when he first started, then he left, and then coming back. A lot of sentimental talk.
But I felt, if you want my honest opinion, based off what we've heard out there,
that's why we asked you.
No, be quiet, Cody. It's going to be weird. I mean, I wish it worked out a little bit better because he was just, when he was healthy, I mean, that guy was unbelievable.
That's where Cody can answer this. But that's where you look at the business side, and it's like,
I mean, I remember watching one of those goals against
back. But,
Cody, do you remember? It was a home game. I think it was Nashville. He just pokes the puck up ahead and he takes off. Toe drags a guy and rips it top shelf.
I'll even go another one. Remember Anaheim? We came back down 4-1 overtime. Pucks along the boards, toe drags, top cheese. And
that's prime Ekblad right there.
And that President's Trophy year, I will stand on this to the day I die. If he doesn't get hurt in that Anaheim game, he's a Norris candidate, and he's scored because he was like at 16 goals or something.
He was right there. He was like
he would have been a 20-goal scorer, and Montour wouldn't have had the single season point record.
Yeah, ever since
Maurice on that.
And it's kind of weird. It's like ever since Maurice came in, this has kind of been like the Aaron Ekblad, a shell of. I don't want to say this disrespectfully. He hasn't been the same Aaron Ekblad since Paul Maurice came in, and yet it's when we've had the most team success.
Well, he was struggling there before Coach Q came in, and then he started to get his game back together.
And then the injury happened.
Then the injury happened. You guys are forgetting also Dallas in that bubble there.
Yes, he came back from that very well. The Anaheim one
was waved offside, comes back
and then went
towards it again.
And the next day, I think he got hurt.
The next game,
yeah, because somebody he got tripped up and toe picked the skate under him, and this is why I can't stand what Kirby calls him high maintenance, because he's the one guy who changed his game the most when Maurice came in. because he went from power play one time, offensive defenseman to physical defense first defenseman. Like it flipped.
Well, I think you also have to look at there wasn't many guys left on the roster when Zito's changing guys left, right, and center with signings, trades.
But he still had to change his game. Change it completely.
They never took away his first pairing ice time, though.
No, because it would have been stupid too.
Now,
you heard a lot of fans through sometimes.
I'm not putting Montour with forcing. That would have been freaking stupid.
No, I didn't.
also, shout out Nate Schmidt, assuming he'll probably be gone too.
But
hell of a pickup there.
But my only thing is, I guess
We'll
now
be here live for any Ekblad Bennett news and other big news. For the guys like Nate Schmidt, we appreciate his time. I don't know if we'll go live on that. Mention his name now.
I guess for me, you just re-sign one of Bennett or Marchand, and I'm fine. The Bennett one, I'm really cautious.
Marchand. I mean, Marchand's going to need
on day one of free agency is probably something.
Bennett. I'm really cautious about the number. That's what I
What
really
do you
am.
think the chances are we let all three walk?
0, like closer, like
I'm not there.
10, 15,
12 to 15%.
Okay.
10 to 15.
I think 15, 20%.
Like, I think their intention is to bring Bennett back, but if the number gets so ridiculous, maybe they don't bring anyone
But
back.
the one thing is,
So you think the highest likelihood is 1 out of 3 come back, and it's Bennett?
yes.
I don't. I think. What do you think the odds are that Ekblad comes back, and then what do you think the odds are that Marchand comes back?
Ekblad comes back. I'm right around 20 to 25%.
I agree with that.
Marchand, I'm probably closer to 15 to 20.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was a lot of talk early on in his tenure here that it may not be a rental, that we could potentially keep him beyond. But throughout the playoff run, as he was playing and as news started to come out, it became more clear that Marchand.
For them to get Marchand back, they have to know fairly early on here in the offseason that Bennett's like, and the number of the agents like, we're not doing that with Florida.
Yeah, because I think
Well, there's also this. These guys, they're 2-time Stanley Cup champions. They've won. Sam Bennett, Aaron Ekblad, Brad Marchand, they're going to get paid. Are they just going to cash out? Which, if they do, I mean, that makes sense. You've won 2 cups, right? Like,
but Zito needs Bennett's answer like tomorrow.
You think that early? Huh?
Because they need to know where their money's allocated going forward.
Yeah, because
there's a bit of time here. It's not like last year.
I know it might not be tomorrow they won the cup, but you know
when is the NHL draft? Like Vince would know.
5 days.
Oh, before the draft, I would say.
Like,
it's centralized, right? They don't have to fly out.
Yeah.
So that's big for them too.
But you get what I'm saying, Nick? They need
27th and 28th, so next week. And
like
then
Zito doesn't want to go through what last year did, and they finished the cup. What is it? 6-7 days.
24th. They had the parade. I think the 26th or 27th, and then they had the draft the 28th and 29th, and then you got 2 days to figure out everything else.
And I don't think they knew Montour's situation until like the last 48, 72 hours.
Well, they were trying to move Ekblad. Remember that report. So
and then the no move for Ekblad kind of like threw
you know
things.
What's crazy? That Ekblad news came out the day after we won the cup.
Yeah, it was.
See, that shows you how quick Zito was moving then.
Yeah, but the thing is, like right now,
we might be able to get a great deal with a hungover Bennett. So maybe we try to negotiate at the parade on Sunday.
But the thing is, like Friedman did say, it's tough to figure out where rumors are. If you talk to one person, they say one thing. You talk to the other, it's in a completely different.
The Bennett camp has been a smokescreen all year.
Yeah, and it's just
November on Hockey Night in Canada when they said they're close to a Bennett extension.
Yeah,
that was November.
Yeah, and then the one thing I completely disagree with, and I can't believe this take is going on, like, you should get paid for what you do in the playoffs. Like, no.
We're going to do a ranking system, guys, in the offseason, and I want us to rank the players 70% on the regular season and about 30 on playoffs.
You know, I'll say this on the – so there was a rumor, and I'll go –
Is that a fair number, though, Nick? Rank a guy about 70% on the regular season numbers and about 30% on what they do in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You rank a guy, how you probably pay a guy.
Yeah, I mean, again, saying the regular season's irrelevant. Saying the regular season irrelevant now is okay. Like, that's easy to say. Are you going to be saying that when he hasn't scored in 20 games
And when
in
you're struggling
December?
for a playoff spot one of these years?
Right? Or like, are you going to say that when he has 45 points in 70 games one year? Like,
Oh, they're going to be like, Kirby, Nick, Cody, what's going on with like Bennett, or what's going on with this guy or that guy? We heard it this year with Verhaeghe. Should we have signed him that contract? And me and Cody were like, yes.
I'll say the one thing on Carter Verhaeghe here.
Were you going
take
to
a look?
you were wrong? Are you going to say you were wrong?
Yeah, I was wrong. I didn't say anything. No, I don't love the way he played in the regular season.
W
We're
for
gonna
me.
find out that
W.
we might.
Yeah,
I don't love the way he played in the regular season, but the playoffs, he did great. And I did not give him enough credit on some of the forechecking and some of the extra stuff without the puck.
And shout out to
Anyways.
Caesar was with me and Cody on that.
Well,
Well, if you want.
Carter Verhaeghe this
Number one
playoff.
Verhaeghe believer.
Carter Verhaeghe this playoff had more points than Sam Bennett.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hey, so when we take a look, Verhaeghe makes $7 million. In my opinion, I don't really want to go up to $7 million for Sam Bennett, but if he wants to go any higher than that, I can look at my own team. I could look at Carter Verhaeghe, and I could say Carter Verhaeghe is a 35-40 goal scorer, 65-70 point guy usually. On an off season, scored 53 points, which is still higher than Sam Bennett's career high in 50 points. And if you want to talk about playoffs, Carter Verhaeghe's known for clutch playoff goals. How many does he have?
Playoffs.
You take a look at the clutch playoff goals. He has the same kind of factor in the playoffs that Bennett does. And you take a look at the numbers in the playoffs, Kirby. 12 points in 10 games, President's Trophy year. 17 and 21, 22, 23, 21 and 24 last year. 23 and 23 this year. He's been just as good, just as clutch, just a big-time player in the playoffs.
For people that
been
talk
better in the regular season,
Yep.
I don't think Bennett should get any more than him.
And people say for a perimeter winger, or some people, this is an incorrect statement, soft player, which he's not.
No, again, Sam Bennett, Carter Verhaeghe can go anywhere in the top six. Sam Bennett can only play one position. That's second line center. And it's got to be with Matthew Tkachuk. And the thing with Verhaeghe is that shot, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just speed, Cody. I was talking to Nick about this offline today. I believe it was today. He has speed, but he's not. His whole game isn't predicated on that. And especially when playoffs come, he knows to get to those quiet areas, those tough areas, those greasy areas. His game is not predicated off his speed. So I think Carter Verhaeghe's game is going to age beautifully in the Panthers system.
Well, I also think that if you have to go higher than Verhaeghe for Bennett, it's not worth it. I just laid out the case for you that Verhaeghe's a better regular season player, and he's just as good, if not a better playoff performer.
But the number might be higher with the cap going up and different things like that.
And the thing is,
you want to stay? Okay, the whole thing here is I've always said, well, he'll take a pay cut. If you want to stay in Florida, you take a pay cut. I agree. Taking anything more than $7 million, making us pay anything more than $7 million for us is not a pay cut. So that's just the fact of the matter. The reason why we're good is because we have the right players at the right cap in the right spots, and they are supplemented by other players.
And Reinhart said took $1.5 million or $2 million pay cut.
Reinhart could have made 10.5 last year. Took $2 million pay cut. Sam Bennett, he can make 9.5, 10 this year, 8.5, 10. If Sam Bennett
says he makes 10, is 8 a pay cut?
So, well, I mean, I'm not paying him $8 million.
I don't know who in the fuck.
I think he can make $9 million, $8.5, $9 million.
Okay.
Well,
I don't
you can
know
make
who in the
you can
right
get an eighth
fucking
year
time to
here,
do that.
$7 million here. Look, we're not gonna go too deep into this now.
What was that, Cody?
Who in the right fucking mind would give that man $10 million?
I don't
know.
Again, I don't want to shit on Sam Bennett. If a great player, I mean,
they're giving Marner $14 million instead of 12 or 13. Well, if some team's giving him 14, then the pay cut would be
But that's the case for me. Is Carter Verhaeghe makes $7 million? Sam Bennett should not make more than $7 million.
And my argument to
hold on a second. Isn't it crazy to think that Marner could get 14 and then people are saying Bennett at 7 or 8? That's pretty wild.
But
here's that wide.
Here's my reasoning.
Player as Marner, that's wild.
It has nothing to do with like Bennett. What Bennett did was incredible. but to me, it's with Anton Lundell.
Well, that too.
Can't keep him at 3C forever when he's going to be a better, more impactful player than Bennett in 1 to 2 years. This was Bennett's career year. This was it.
But it's hard for fans to think that's the truth, Cody.
Yeah, and I think
I know how hockey.
$7 million for 8 years for Sam Bennett isn't disrespectful by any means. You have to also combine that with Lundell.
We are trying to talk with you with the business of hockey and taking our objectivity out. Does Cody love Bennett? No, he doesn't. But we're trying to talk to you about the business of hockey here and what we honestly believe and try to take all bias out of it, right?
Well, Anton Lundell, I think, is going to be one of the best number 2 centers in the NHL. I think you can't pay Barkov 10.
He's the best third-line center in the NHL now.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the best 2Cs in the NHL.
But he proved to me at 4 Nations he's a 2C.
Yeah, I mean,
level of competition.
Again,
all that.
You can't pay all this money. Like, it's going to catch up to you. And Sam Bennett's going to age. And then you're going to have to start making cuts. Well, are we really going to want to be in a position in 2-3 years? Well, we don't have money, so we have to move somebody. I mean, that's not how we stay good. That's not how we're good. Part of what Zito does well is he finds players at good cap hits to come in and replace them. And eventually they do. Yeah. AJ Greer, when we lost Ryan Lomberg, and I know this is a much lesser example, AJ Greer comes in. It's the same exact result. We had a great team last year. Some would argue, we've already had this. We had a better team this year. I don't know about that. Maybe not. I don't know. You win the cup again, right? So you lose Montour, you bring in Seth Jones. You lose Stenlund. I don't love losing Stenlund. Bring in Nosek. He does the job fine. Lomberg, Greer. Lose Racco Gudas 2 years ago. You bring in Nico Mikkola, right? I mean, it's just what we do. And you don't need to find...
The only thing I have to figure out on that is the goaltending spot.
Yeah, and you don't need to find a replacement for Sam Bennett because he's already on the roster.
And I just want to say this. Let's think about it. Ever since he's been in Florida.
Just now, because I wanted to talk about it when the playoffs were over. So,
all right, 1 goal in 5 games. 1 goal in 10 games. 5 goals in 20 games. 7 goals in 19 games. 15 goals in 23 games. The jump that's all of his postseasons as a Panther. His shooting percentage is 5%, 3%, 6%, 18% last year, 21% this year. 1 in 5 shots were going in for him.
Sam Bennett.
He's not putting up 15 goals again. It's just so unsustainable.
Price comes to a point when you're paying for, playoffs, intangibles, all that. You have to have a number where that is the breaking point. And, you have to look at it as a Panther fan objectively. What is that number? They've had the internal cap with Barkov at 10, with Tkachuk at 9.5. Now those numbers move and shift a bit with the cap going up, but you still got to have a number and a breaking point for your core guys, for your secondary core guys, and especially for free agents that you bring in. And we talked about Bill Zito's brilliance on the free agent front. When he makes mistakes, it's at the lower end. So you can't be making mistakes with your lineup. If you're thinking with your heart, you're going to come into a lot of problems.
Yeah, because my breaking point is $7 million now.
Yeah, I mean, an 8x7, I cringe at it. But if you feel if you evaluate him in that high of a level, then do it. But if 8x7 can't get it done, I don't really know what else we're supposed to do. I mean, this is $56 million. You're getting paid the same amount as Carter Verhaeghe.
Because if he gets 8x8, I'm expecting more from him next year.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to do 45, 50 points.
If you guys in the fan base are coming at me and Cody and Nick and Bennett's as good a player or better player than Reinhart, I don't know where to start that conversation with you.
Reinhart, by the way, he had 4 goals, 7 goals in the finals. It'll
be the quietest 4-goal thing in the history of the game. I don't know, empty net.
It's amazing. He signs a contract. Everybody stops talking about him.
He scored 50-7.
You know what? If we re-sign Bennett and we go on a long run next year, nobody's going to talk about Sam Bennett anymore.
I grew up watching Pavel Bure with the Panthers. That was allowed, 58, 59 goals. Sam Bennett just does it so Sam Reinhart just does it so casually.
Reinhardt's career high in goals is higher than Bennett's career high in points.
I'm not saying that conversation has started, but I don't want
That's crazy.
Because Sam Reinhart is the second, third best player on this team every given night out there on the ice.
You could argue he's the second best.
And what was he? He was playing with an injury, everyone?
Strained MCL.
Yeah, I just think
what we said.
Sam Reinhart, you take a look at it, point per game throughout 23, over a point per game, 23 points in 21 games, 11 goals. What a playoff run. I mean,
guy's not getting him the puck on the power play. He's injured.
No, we didn't even do anything on the bumper. And also 57 goals last season, 39 goals this season. Pretty good, right? So almost a 40-goal guy again.
Just another bonus cap, named as one of the 6 Canadian players already. Last year it was
Reinhart finishes this playoff with 0 power play goals.
And we won the Stanley Cup. But
wild stats.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm cooked, boys.
Yeah, we can tell.
Well, you guys got to get some rest. Yeah, Cody. It's almost
4:20. Anyways,
I get this chair tomorrow, just a minor. But
I'm not moving from this chair. Just
anything else wrapping up here, boys?
Oh, shout out to Big C's. Make sure to follow him below there.
Yep. Shout out to
Big C's. A lot better time than Cody right now.
Appreciate the 25 people that are somehow watching us at 4:20 in the morning. But I mean,
it's been a fun ride this year, gentlemen, and coming over on the YouTube channel side, it's gone perfect. And I appreciate everyone in the chat that's found us here on the YouTube side, all around the NHL fans.
And we will say, check out for the latest podcast, and we're going to go live on July 1st for free agency.
We might do some other hangouts with some guests.
Yeah, we'll probably have like 3 podcasts in between now and
free agency.
Free agency, because
quick turnaround.
Talk about who we want in free agency. We got to recap the draft.
Anything breaking news? Like we said,
I'm not doing the draft. We got freaking a 4th round pick.
The draft. I don't know.
You don't have to show up there, but we got to do it. It's due diligence. We got to do it.
Recap? Oh, Jerry Jones likes using that term.
Well, we don't need you there, Nick. We need Vince. Like,
there we go. How about Vince just comes on? He could talk about the top 10 prospects that we have.
Ekblad, Bennett. Any breaking news? We'll go live on YouTube as well.
Yep. Yeah, but
breaking news stuff.
But thank you everyone for joining us on this lovely night, now morning. The Panthers are the back-to-back Stanley Cup
unreal, man. Lost in all that, huh?
Gentlemen, get some rest.
Boy, I gotta get up in 4 hours, so
appreciate all the travel. Appreciate you there. Nick, appreciate you being at the rink tonight.
But
it wasn't my choice, but it's all right.
But ladies and gentlemen, as we say goodbye, and as always, let's go, Cats.
What's up, Cats and Rats fans? If you enjoyed that video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you head out. If you're listening to us on Apple and Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And just like always, let's go Cats.